I worked 10 hours in a food truck yesterday, so here is another episode of Batshit People from History. So Vladislav III has two nicknames that we remember him by, Vlad the Impaler and Dracula. If you couldn't tell, this guy is known for his level head and his piety. At the ripe old age of 12, he was taken hostage by the Ottoman Empire, and not long after that, at 17, he retook his throne of Wallachia after his dad had a little case of the being stabbed to death by his nobles in a swamp. Now Vlad was a caring man, and he wanted to extend an olive branch out to the nobility after this. So, he invited them to his palace on Easter Sunday for a feast. And then, he had them all arrested, beaten, and then impaled. 500 of them, to be exact. As a level-headed, pietous man does. And then it just gets better from here. So when he was deposed from his throne, again, he ended up leading a group of nobles into Wallachia and defeated the usurper's army, and then proceeded to fight a literal 1v1 against the usurper, decapitating him and then keeping his head as a keepsake. When the Ottoman emissaries did not remove their turbans when Vlad kindly asked them to, he'd ended up doing them a favor. He simply had them nailed into their skulls to make sure they would never come off for them again. When Ottoman forces were defeated by Vlad, 20,000 prisoners of war were impaled on pikes and then put on display outside of the city, which caused the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire to retreat in horror, saving Vlad, Wallachia, and his army. And if that's not terrifying enough, he was also said to dine in the company of those he impaled as well. As a man who commits acts of terrorism and violence lives, he will also die by it. Vlad was ambushed by Ottoman forces, and he and his small group of soldiers were killed, with his head being cut off and then sent back to the Sultan as an act of poetic justice. And then the location of Vlad's body is still unknown, with it either being buried in a Romanian monastery where the rest of the rulers of Wallachia were buried, or in Italy, I guess. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the last video about Andrew Jackson. The fact more than 5 people actually watched a video of mine is kind of mind-blowing. Like and subscribe, please. I am lonely.